sellers keep dropping prices. And I'm going to share information from the MLS. This is where all of the data comes from. This is what we realtors have access to. So I'm going to share this with you, and you want to stay tuned to see how much the housing market has actually softened. And I've been able to get some buyers some really good deals. They were able to follow the data, follow what's going on, and buy when it was a better time for buyers. Now I want to share some articles before I get over to this data. And right here, home builders are aggressively slashing home prices on new homes, but buyers aren't biting. I want to go over these articles so you have the understanding and see what the state of the housing market is looking like nationwide, as well as here in our greater Salt Lake City housing market here in Utah. So right here, home builders are aggressively slashing prices on new homes, but buyers aren't biting. Concerns about the economy and the cost of living are outweighing these price cuts. Now, builders are also offering interest rates as low as 2.9 and 3.9% for the first 2 years, and then a fixed rate of 4.9% to make that monthly payment much more affordable and more appealing, and yet they're having a hard time taking these buyers or getting these buyers to come and buy the homes. Dropping prices, giving much better interest rates, giving these incentives, and still not seeing buyers come through the door. Now, when I share this with you over here, you're going to see how much things have softened. So if you haven't, smash the like button, hit the subscribe button. No one has your back like Dinko the Realtor. And when you do need a real estate agent in Utah, Dinko the Realtor has your back. My contact information is down below in the description. Now, the telltale sign of what I was able to assess and analyze, right here, I'm going to show you. And this was at the end of spring, beginning of summer. The National Association of Home Builders monthly confidence index rose 1 point to 38, and the industry group said a year ago the index stood at 46. Essentially, their index rating, their confidence rating at the end of spring, beginning of summer was almost just as low as it was in November of 23 and December of 22. And if you've been following the channel, the second half of 2022, we saw home prices fall 10% nationwide and 15% in the greater Salt Lake area. Now, right here, the higher the index, the more confident the builders are. So right there is a telltale sign that if their rating or their confidence was extremely low when it was supposed to be a seller season at the end of spring, beginning of summer, you knew that it was going to get worse. And that's why I was able to help buyers get much better deals, because they waited for the inventory to build up, for the buyer demand to go away, and then less competition, more sellers out there, and they were able to get a better deal. Now, I also want to share what's going on right here. So the active days you're seeing, we are in the 70s now. So homes that are active for sale are in the 70s days on market. And the sold data is always going to be better, because those homes are the ones that people actually want. Then you have houses that expire, that haven't sold yet. So right here, we were in the 60s just a couple of weeks ago, and now we're in the 70s. I believe it was even last week where we were in the 60s. So right now, the average seller is spending 71 days currently on the market growing, and this is going to keep increasing. So when we're following this kind of data, it allows us to understand what's happening in the housing market. And when we go over here, we see that home buyers aren't feeling much better about the housing market than the builders are right here. So 73% of Americans say that the current environment is a bad time to buy a house. Essentially, builders aren't feeling great, consumer confidence is low, nothing is doing great in the economy. Now I'm going to share this stuff with you, but remember that the vehicle repossessions, and here's an ad, the ad is gone. More than 2.2 million vehicles have already been repossessed, and by the end of the year, this is expected to be 3 million plus by the end of 2025, in line with the Great Recession. And remember that the job cuts in October hit the highest level in 22 years for the month of October, showing us that the economy is not in great standing. So now the confidence in the economy isn't great. Consumers don't have confidence. Builders don't have confidence. This is why buyers are able to get much better deals now. And this is why I was saying earlier in the year that was going to happen. Now, right here, you're going to take a look and see what's going on right here. We're going to analyze this here together so you have a good understanding. And again, if you haven't, smash the like button. Hit the subscribe button. You're not going to find this information anywhere else. So do yourself a favor so you're notified. Turn on that bell, whatever they say. That way you're notified when the new videos drop. And when you do need a real estate agent, again, my contact information is down below, because no one has your back like Dinko the Realtor. So right here, if we analyze this, we see that this one sold at 623, and this was my listing. I've already touched base on this, I believe, 2 videos ago. So right here, we listed this one. And the reason I want to bring this up is we listed at 625, $10,000 in closing costs, and essentially we sold it for $613,000. Well, we had one showing in 10 days, and in 14 days, still one showing, received the offer. We closed on that offer, had to do some extensions, and I told the seller that it was going to be a race to the bottom. Especially all these homes right here, they resemble each other. So if you take a look, they all look alike. Maybe a little bit of different coloring, but they look alike. They're essentially the same house. Let me remove myself there so you can take a look. Essentially the same house, maybe a little bit bigger and a little bit different exterior, different colors. And I said it was going to be a race to the bottom. And these sellers did you a favor by listing too high, and they've started doing their price cuts. So you want to be ahead of them. And we were talking about doing a price cut, and then all of a sudden we received an offer. So that was great for the seller. Now, I want to go over here and show you what is happening, because these guys, when I recorded this video, they were actually in the 600s. This one over here, I believe, was 619, and I believe this one was 614. And I'm going to show you that right over here. So you see, this one listed August 15th at 669,000, essentially 670,000. This one followed on the 23rd of August. So which one listed first? Yeah, so this one listed first, and then this one followed a week later at 669,000. So it said, hey, we'll undercut you by $900. Then this one over here on the 9th of September does a price cut to $644,900. This one over here then does a price cut to $639,900. And then we come and we list right here on the 22nd of September at 625, ahead of the market. We sell, lucky, we were going to do a price cut and we got an offer. So we go over here and we see that this one dropped to 624,900. This one then, this one did it first now. They went to 619,000. They followed suit at 624. Then they cut to 614,900. Then they go to 599, and these guys over here go to 597. So you're seeing that they're continuously cutting these prices. They're racing toward the bottom. Now, I told my seller, I said, look, your house is probably, if we price it right, we're ahead of the market, 6 to 625. I was right on the money. We weren't getting any showings, and I said, I'm leaning towards 600. So essentially, that house was probably worth closer to 600 than 625 with just one showing. Now, that tells you that this market, and again, we went under contract in October. These guys are doing price cuts here in November, and now we're in December. So where does this end? Where did these houses end up selling, right? How much are they going to get? Are they going to get 575, 550, 525? And is this going to continue into next year? So this is why it was important to price that home correctly. But it's just showing you that these sellers are now racing to the bottom. And now, again, I'm going to show you something else here, why this is important. So if you take a look right here, you see that this house is 589, but this one does not have a finished basement. No finished basement. So they started at 605, they're at 589. Well, if these guys over here are now at 599 and 587 with a finished basement, who's going to buy that one at just $10,000 less? That basement alone is going to cost you $50,000 to finish. Nobody's going to do that, right? $40,000, $50,000. So now they're going to drop their price. And there was actually one without a basement that ended up selling, and I believe that one sold at $580,000. So they were listed at $595. They got negotiated down, and they closed at $580. So you're just seeing that the market has softened, that the buyers have many more options, much more leverage as far as negotiating, and that sellers are actually starting to compete with each other of who's going to price below the next one, and you're seeing that right there. So you're able to take advantage of this and get much better deals. Now, smash the like button, hit the subscribe button, and when you do need a real estate agent in Utah, Dinko the Realtor has your back.